Hello and welcome back to Galactic Reviews, and we both read Cyberfrog 2. This is the second issue of Cyberfrog, second issue of the main story, I'd say. No, I guess we'll get right into it. It's a lot bigger than the first one, which that threw me off a lot because I was thinking they were all going to be about the same size, and most of the rest of them are roughly about the same size, but that one was like two times the size. It was good that it like I liked that it was like two times the size. But and you got a lot more story that way. But yeah, I just wasn't expecting it to be that thick when I first got it. No, I wasn't expecting that. But
Yeah, no, neither was I. When I went to read it, I'm like, damn, this is a lot bigger than I thought it was.
yeah, I wouldn't say it's near as like front heavy as the first Blood Honey was. Rekt Planet wasn't near as front heavy with like all the story and stuff, but it like carries through the main story. You feel more into the world than you did in the
Yeah.
first one. And a lot more of the characters are explored that were hinted at or like shown in the first or towards the end of the first one.
The first one was a lot of world building and catching you up to understand these characters, and this was a lot more,
World building through story kind of instead of
yes,
just
it wasn't as heavy to
yeah.
swallow as the first one,
Yeah.
which I really appreciated. It was more evenly paced. The first one was a build up so you understand the characters, understand why they were there, and just understand as much as you can in a very quick, short amount of time.
Yeah, how the world came to this sort of situation, and then this one's kind of
Yes,
just showing you how they're dealing with this situation
yes.
and how
How,
they're
yeah,
starting to overcome the situation, I guess, or is how
I
they're
sup
starting to
I suppose overcome. Yeah,
like the seeds are being planted. I wouldn't say they're like starting to, but I'm saying I would at least say the seeds are
how
being
they're
planted
able.
on how
Yeah,
they're going to,
how they're trying to survive now. Yes,
how they're surviving, and how they're going to eventually. I wouldn't say they're looking to overthrow them or like get rid of the Vespas as of right now,
uh,
but
yeah, not right now, I don't think.
you can
Um,
at least definitely see like the seeds being planted for that to some degree.
yes.
And that kind of adds on with the other books that we'll be reading later, I guess, because it does add to the story. It's not necessary for the story, but it does add to it.
Yeah, because like during the whole time of this, I'm reading this and I'm like, where is shoot, I just went blank on his name.
Salamandroid.
Yeah, Salamandroid. And then he shows up literally the final page.
Yeah,
I was
well,
like, okay.
you gotta also remember like he just woke up.
Oh yeah,
So,
no. I agree and I understand. But there's a lot of background noise, I suppose you could say, being set up in this issue
yeah,
with the him now understanding the dialogue of the what are they called? Where's the book? I can't.
Vespus.
The Vespas.
It's
Yes.
a weird spelling,
Yeah.
but that's how it's
Yeah.
pronounced.
Okay. Thank you. With the Vespas. And the person who helped him is like it's a whole bunch of interesting circumstances in a
Yeah.
way.
So you kind of get that from the dialogue of this one, but those two guys that there's this giant guy, the giant scorpion cybernetic
Hmm.
guy, that's Scorpion, and then you got the cat guy, Spite, and then you got the
Which
guy that's like a
did I didn't quite understand it. Did Spike or no, he was just deactivated.
yes, it seems that way because Device, which is the other guy, the third
Yeah.
guy,
Yeah.
went to link up with Cyberfrog and helped him out. I don't know exactly how that works, but those are all like how like the Spite and Device's connection work. I don't think that's been, at least from the books that I've read, that hasn't been explained yet. But you do get those are all characters that are from the 90s that were Cyberfrog's villains. And you
Yes.
do get, I will say this, you do get Scorpion's and Device's origins in this book,
And the next one.
in the Salamandroid book.
Oh, in the sound because well, they did
Yes.
make reference, I suppose, to that book,
Yes.
saying that they were working with the lizard.
Yeah. It's kind of working in tandem. I don't know. That other book kind of has questions and kind of also leaves things open-ended because there's also that time gap,
Yeah.
and we don't know exactly what Sal does in that time gap. But
Okay.
we do know
Gotcha.
he is waiting, but we do know he's waiting for his brother, and there are some things that are like possibilities in there as to what he does, but it can be it's left up to I guess
Interpretation or
yeah,
not
until
interpretation. I mean, I
more like
suppose.
skepticism
Yeah.
as to like or theorizing as to what may have
Yeah.
happened or what he did, and we're probably not going to get anything until probably not until either the next Salamandroid book where it has to maybe delve into his past and you kind of get more of what, or at least during that time gap where Cyberfrog is kind of hibernating, healing, and you get to see what Sal's doing during that time. It could go many different ways, but if like the first issue was like the seed being planted, this was like it kind of sprouting out of the ground and kind of starting to blossom.
Yeah.
I would be that would be the best way to say it. I think it does well working off of the first issue. The story is well conveyed, the artwork is phenomenal. The colors are well done, the lettering, like the word bubbles and everything. I found those
Yes.
fun, especially with Cyberfrog. Those were fun.
However,
Um,
I will say, I don't know if you noticed it while you were reading it. There were some typos
I
in in it.
don't remember. I don't remember seeing any, but that doesn't mean that
It's
there
one of
aren't
those
any.
things of like, instead of saying like he, they would put we. It's just like little ones like your brain will fix automatically.
Maybe, and that's probably what my brain did. I wasn't paying that
Yeah.
much attention. I was more so wanting the
It's so
story.
minute. It's so minute that your brain will automatically fix it. But if you go and double read it,
Well,
you
I
will
mean,
notice that it's just minor typos. It's nothing like
well, maybe
significant or
I have to look and see what.
groundbreaking.
Well, what exactly are you? Which ones do you have? Like, know which ones you're talking
Yeah,
about?
let me get the book.
Because
Let me
like for
see.
some of them, if it's the Vespas, they
No,
could
it wasn't the Vespers.
okay. Because if it's the Vespas, they're kind of like a hive mind ish.
Yeah. That one
So
made sense. It was mostly with in the beginning. Let me see if I can find reread the
because
beginning.
I'm
Hold
not
on.
doubting you. I'm just like I don't remember seeing it. So and I know there's one in the Salamandroid one, but he said he fixed it, but I don't know if he fixed it in the new issue that I got. I don't know if it's fixed there.
I gotta.
If it's device saying we, then it could be like him referring to everybody else that's in the
No, it
coalition
wasn't.
with Scorpion.
Yeah, no, I don't believe it was with that. I think it was Cyberfrog
Ah,
that said
okay.
something.
Okay.
I think, but then again, you know how he always monologues himself? But he
Yeah.
referred to himself as we, and yet it's only himself at the moment. I think that's what it was, and I think that's what I gotta
Yeah.
find it. I don't remember exactly where it is though.
Yeah, no worries. But yeah, no, overall I'd say I enjoyed this. I think I enjoyed this more than the first one,
Oh yeah, 100%.
but to be fair, like it does go off of the first one a lot as far as the world building. So, I mean,
Yeah, the first
I
one,
have to give
as we talked
some.
about, it was just a whole bunch of
I think this is a
um
very good second issue, though. I think this is very good as a second issue. The first issue was info heavy early on, but it was world building, like we've already kind of said, and this does a good job of building or going from that world building and just moving forward with the whole story and doing a good job of pacing wise of getting the
yeah.
story out there and doing a good job with it.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. Also I enjoy the I suppose inner struggle of the town that they live in with the control freak for a leader they have.
Yeah, and you'll get to see more about him in the in let me see. In this one, because this kind of goes through what Heather goes through in the to get to the town while
Oh,
Cyberfrog is
before
away. Yep. Yep.
yeah.
So you'll get that. You'll get to see that and you'll get to kind of understand him early on.
I might just give up because I'm too lazy to read through this whole thing to find it. I know I should have like bookmarked it or something, but
Well,
I'm
if
too
you find,
lazy. It's just like it's just a single bubble.
yeah, well, I
And
know in,
it could be the difference because I can't tell the difference between if he's monologuing himself, but referring to himself as a group of people, or if
yeah,
it's just, I
mm,
don't know. I'll look for it later.
yeah, well, I know in the Salamandroid book, he does make a mistake in saying the cavalry. He puts cavalry
Mm.
instead of the cavalry. It's
Yeah, I mean,
cavalry.
those mistakes I don't mind. It was
So,
just something I found and I was like, oh, I
but
mean,
yeah,
it happens. It
yeah,
happens.
it happens every now and then. It wasn't as bad as the ISOM one though, but
Nothing can be as bad as that.
I know there can be worse. I just don't know what.
I mean, I
I,
could tell you, and we can decide whether or not to leave this. It would
no,
be as
what
bad
would be
as
worse is me and you
in
trying to draw a
ISOM.
comic.
Well, yeah, but it would be bad if, like in ISOM, they had a typo between describing someone as black or white. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like that's a bad typo.
that'd be that.
Something just extreme.
That's like obviously not what the picture shows, but it's not what
No,
he's saying. That like the picture and words don't match. Yeah, no, that
yeah,
that would be worse.
some just like a bold word, just controversial, and it's like, no, that's not depicting the scene. You,
Yeah, yeah. As far as the Cyberfrog 2 goes, I enjoyed this one. I really did.
it was because in the first one you got to see him do more combat as his full self as Cyberfrog. This one was more laid back. There wasn't really any fighting in it.
Yeah,
Um,
well, there is
it was
some, but
mostly just,
he's
yeah,
kind of
but it was mostly
restricted.
just, yeah, it was mostly just personalities we were seeing.
Yeah,
We already knew Cyberfrogs. It was mostly building the personality of Lily.
the town, Heather,
Well, the
Lily.
town, Lily.
You kind of got to see the Vespas more. You didn't really get to see them in
Well, you got to see the Vespas and you got
more towards the end.
to
You got to see the
kind
Vespas.
of understand what they're doing, I suppose. Not much, but a little bit.
You kind of get to understand. So it seems like they're mostly just farming the humans, making sure they don't go extinct.
But at the same time, wasn't he sent there because they do inevitably make them go extinct and find a new planet?
They do, but I think with this one, well, at least according to, if I remember the book correctly, because I'm all these kind of trying to separate two
Yeah.
from like
No,
the
I
other
get it.
ones.
Yeah, yeah.
But two, I believe, like they say, like they can to piss off Cyberfrog at the end. They say they can see red,
Yeah.
which kind of is against one of the rules, and kind of it's like a contradiction. But you don't know whether or not the Vespas are lying to him just to piss him off, or if like
Well,
they actually
yeah.
can see red.
Well, yeah. But then
So
again, it was one of those things like immediately when he was being uploaded with their language, he was being told, don't listen to them, they always lie.
yeah, that's also another thing. So we don't know, but they also have Lily. So I mean, they can
I
see
mean,
something
but
on her, but
but then again, it also goes to one of those things of is someone in town the witch specifically? I can't what was her name? It starts with an A, Amanda or something like that. Um,
Annie, I think.
Annie, maybe.
Think so.
I have it right here. I don't know why I'm asking you when I have it right here and I can look.
Yeah, she's actually a Cyberfrog villain as well. Yeah, she's a Cyberfrog villain as well, and she
Where is?
is yeah, she's a witch.
Yeah, is she helping or is she I guess working against the town and with the
I think
bugs
she just
because she kind of 100% just sent Lily.
I think she just hates Cyberfrog,
I mean,
and so
possibly
that's the
that's
way to get
true.
rid of Cyberfrog.
I mean,
And
true, but like
I think
she
that's
sent
something
her,
that
she sent Lily specifically to the location where the Vespas were,
yeah,
and probably also sent her father there. So is she sending sacrifices so that she keeps
Hmm.
herself safe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that part. I just don't, but I don't know if she sent her father there either.
I mean, we don't know. All we know is
Well,
that she found a glove that belonged to him.
yeah. We also know in in the Heartsick horror one, we do get to see the father leave and then not come back, and he leaves
Mm,
with a group of people. And I don't remember if the group comes back without him or if none of the group comes back at all.
gotcha.
And I don't remember. I don't believe it was Dystopia who was the one that sent them. I think she just. I think she's just there. I don't. Now she could have sent Heather. I don't know exactly. But this is fun. This is like getting like we're kind
Yeah.
of coming up with theories. Like I miss
I
this.
mean,
I miss this in
yeah,
comics, man.
true. Yeah. Now
But
comics are kind of open and shut.
yeah, pretty much. It's possible, but I we won't know until I heck, I don't even know if we'll ever get an answer to it until maybe the
Um,
very end. I
we
They
might
might leave it
not
open. They might leave it open ended for the viewers to for the like the reader to
figure out.
figure
Oh
out
yeah.
which is the plausible way. The
Oh yeah.
creator might say something and like that be kind of gospel, but you don't quite know for real whether or not he's
Honestly, I would be fine with not knowing, kind of, and it being potentially just happenstance, or that's how they kind of control the group. If someone ends up making a fuss or something, they send
yeah.
them out and they disappear or they get captured, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, it's possible because their whole power. Well, you kind of got to see her power in the book is like she can rhyme and make you do
Hypnotize
yeah, kind
you,
of
kind
hypnotize
of.
you, kind of do things
Yeah,
that you wouldn't normally do. Yeah, it could go. Don't I I don't freaking I don't freaking know.
that's a
Like
good one though.
some of these questions, I'm like I'd like to know and say I know what's gonna come next, but I don't. But I'm anticipating it at least be good because
Yes.
either option is nice.
Because right now we obviously know that next he's going to be revived via the heart and get most, if not all, of his abilities back, probably.
It's possible. Um, I don't know if the heart is online. That's the thing. I don't know if it
Well,
says whether or not
that's
the
true.
heart is
Well, he
because it's
said
the heart
that
of Kajelson, but
yeah,
does
he
the heart
said
need to
he
be connected?
protected it.
Yeah,
I
but
don't know if,
I don't know if that means like the hearts and the body of Kajelson need to be together in order for it to
well, they
work, or
know
if
how
it like works as like a
yeah,
hotspot. I don't.
they know how they function. Well, he said that he felt that something was online. Yeah, because I know Cyberfrog said that he could feel something from his mother as if she was still alive.
Yeah, but we know from Blood Honey, at least in the first bit, that she's still alive, but she's just kind of covered up.
Yeah,
So I just think that they don't know where she is, and the only
well,
part of her that they have with them is the heart.
that could be possible.
So
Could be.
I guess maybe they could like juice Cyberfrog up through the heart, but there's no way to recharge the heart.
I really have no idea.
So
I have no idea.
I don't know. That's the thing. I don't have a clue.
It's going to be interesting and it's going to be fun. This comic book is really just fun.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
it'll be well, some of the more you know about some of the side characters, the more fun I think you're gonna have with this, because now
yeah,
you're gonna know like, oh, now you know a little bit more of the history of some of these side characters.
yes.
So now you're gonna be like, oh crap, this is about to get this will be interesting with these dynamics, considering what you know from past stuff.
And more surprised. I mean, I suppose I'm not more surprised because they could have done this with anything. Make they could make TV shows out of anything, but they always disregard like stuff like this that are have a good plot and 100% funny and entertaining.
Yeah. Well, you also got to take into account this is a guy who was a conservative that was
I was
thrown
about to
out of
say
comics
that.
specifically
Yeah, I
because he
know.
was a conservative. So,
Yeah, I know. That's why I also
which is
cut
a shame
myself
because
short kind of in the beginning
this is a
because
shame
yeah,
though,
I
because
know.
this is the same guy that like helped create like Blackest Night, Green Lantern Rebirth, and
Hmm.
Flash Rebirth, and yeah, did a lot of the helped with Jeff Johns and a lot of stuff. Was like kind of like the guy that he would bounce ideas off of every now and then, especially with Green Lantern. Helped create the cores and all that stuff.
I mean,
Worked with Grant Morrison on like some of the X-Men stuff. I think the new X-Men stuff. So I mean
oh wow, I didn't know he worked on some of the new stuff.
the no like the title New X-Men.
Oh, the top. Okay,
Yeah,
I know.
no,
What,
not
okay,
the okay.
I was about to. Okay, that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, yeah, I did. My bad. I should have worded my words better. I'm excited. Like
I am too.
I'm excited
It's
about this. I'm excited about. I've read the Graham Nolan stuff, which I know you've read Joe Frankenstein 1 and 2, but there's a bunch of other books that he does separately that then he
combines. Yeah,
combines in the Ghost of Matacumba Key,
it's one
which
of
does a
those.
wonderful
Yeah,
job of like combining everything into one world, and it's
for something
glorious.
like that, I might wait a little bit longer and kind of read them in a group, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Kind
yeah.
of all at once, so I
Yeah.
can kind of build the world in one go instead of, waiting for more food to be given to me.
This one feels more like a comic book where you get part of the story and then you have to wait a month to get the next part.
Yeah.
Like that's what this one feels like. Whereas the Graham Nolan one, it's more so you're given this part and it can be on its own. And if you only read that one, you're fine.
Hmm.
But if you read a couple other stories and then you get to this other issue which combines them all, you will see like a wonderful
Yeah, it's a
masterpiece.
it's a spider web effect, yeah.
Yes. So that's where those two are different, but they still both of them do a good job of creating a world around those stories. And I've read all the Graham Nolan stuff, and I need to get you to read them because you liked Joe Frankenstein. You're gonna like a lot of the other ones too.
I'm excited.
Some of them I liked. I probably didn't like as good as Joe Frankenstein, but they were still good. And then when Ghost of Matacumba Key comes down, it's it's glorious.
I might have to take a look at some of them at
Yeah,
some
well,
point.
yeah. The problem is you got to find the time.
Yeah, that's the next thing.
Yeah,
Time.
I'm already about to give you two more books, and then I already know like you've already had trouble trying to get Florida Man and Cyberfrog 2 and then Florida Man 2 all read. And heck, I don't even know if we've read Florida Man 2 all the way through yet.
To be perfectly honest, I read Florida Man 1. I don't remember if I finished Florida Man 2 because it's just such an obscure.
It's obscure, but it's a fun obscure and
It's one of those things of like a brain dead type of
y-
read.
yeah,
You read it, you
it's
enjoy it, but it's
yeah,
you're just zombified by it.
yeah. And I mean it's fun. Don't
Oh
get
yeah,
me
no,
wrong, but
it was good,
I don't think
but
it's for me, but it's fun.
it's not, yeah, it's a fun read, but 100% not for everyone.
Yeah, and for me, I think it's a fun one and done. Whereas these, I think I'm gonna
Yes.
enjoy going back and reading all the way through them just to make sure I'm caught up on the next when the next
Yeah.
part comes out.
Yeah.
So, and the guys already talked about making like a whole volume for all of these.
For all of
When
the Cyberfrog?
yeah,
Okay.
at least for the main story. I don't know if it's gonna include the side stuff, but there's also
Yeah.
gonna be a lot of side stuff going on. So it'll be a thick
Oh,
volume.
okay.
Because like he's
Oh,
got
wow.
this Diary of Heather Swain, 1988. He's got one he's working on called 1983, which is when Heather Swain's a kid, and kind of showing you early on where like part of that
Where
stuff
her
where
family got destroyed.
yeah, and like the early parts of the Vespis and stuff. Because like she's had
Okay.
encounters with them before. It's kind of briefly mentioned like the Vespis were intermingling with Earth a lot
You,
sooner than when it
okay.
happened in the Blood Honey with
God,
the guy
yeah.
with the red eyes and stuff.
Yeah.
There's the this other character, Lynx, which is a person
The
that's
only thing
addicted
I
to blood
don't
honey. So
quite
yeah.
understand are the Vespas that are supposed to be wasps, correct?
I think so, yeah. I think
yet
so.
they turn people to honey.
Yeah, I think we had this discussion before.
We might have, and I still don't
Yeah,
understand.
yeah. No,
Okay.
I don't quite know. I mean, I think they're wasp. I mean, you can look at this and tell me
I mean,
whether or
they
not
look like wasps
they look like
because
wasps.
then again, they sting and they live after stinging someone, so they have to be a wasp because
Yeah,
if they're a bee, they would just die immediately. Well,
yeah.
not immediately, but it's a slow, painful death. So that's where I'm like, but they eat honey. I mean,
I
I'm
think it's
pretty
just
sure
an,
there is I think there is a breed of
and
wasps
I think you
that
mentioned it
do
before.
that do, and I very well could have.
I'm just assuming it's like a wasp slash bee hybrid, and
I
not
mean,
much
true.
more to think about it.
It's an alien
It's also an
species.
alien species, so I'm not going to question
Yeah,
it much more
I mean that's true.
than
That's
that. I mean,
true. What's more terrifying than a wasp? A wasp that eats honey.
no, that giant scorpion thing is kind of freaky.
It was creepy, but it was also kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You
I
get
think,
this
well, then again, we didn't really get to see it like him on a single full frame panel by himself.
like
We
attacking
just,
anybody. That'd be. I
well,
can't wait for that. That's going to be freaking sick.
not just attacking, just we got mostly a silhouette side picture of him,
Yeah, and then we got kind of a
and
close up, and that
it
was
was
it.
partially covered, and the only close up we got was of
You
his
get to
mouth, really.
you will see him in this.
I was about to say, I'm sure
You will see him
I
in
will
that.
get to see him, but
Yep.
in this one, we didn't get to see much of him.
I don't know if it's in Blood Honey or in this one, Cyberfrog 2, where he sends out Spite and Device out to
It's
go meet Cyberfrog.
it's the second one.
It's the second one. Okay.
Yeah,
So that wasn't in the first one.
no,
So he's just
it was in
hinted
this
at in the
one.
first he's just hinted at in the first one. Okay.
Yes, you get to see him in this one, and you just get to see a side picture of him
Okay.
with Spite, and then it zooms in into, and it's just mostly his mouth as he's speaking, and you just get to see the rows of teeth and everything. I'm like, that's cool,
Well, you get to
but
see him in
he's huge,
well,
huge.
you do get to see him in the Salamandroid book, so it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting to see where this goes, man. So
It's a very good, very good read. Um,
I'd give it oof, I think I'd give what I don't remember what I gave the first one, but I think I gave this an 8.5, maybe even a 9 out of 10.
yeah, I think I gave the first one like I think probably an 8, a 7.5 or an 8, probably saying that it's mostly world building, but I'm gonna leave it to the second one, and it might raise or lower the first one.
I
And
think it raises. I
I
think it
think it
raises the
raises
first.
the first one, so
Yeah.
I would say both of them are at least a solid 8. I think if you read the first one, I can see how some people would have stopped reading or were be disappointed with it because it's just a whole bunch of world building. You know what I mean? Kind of
Yes.
lost,
Yes.
not understanding exactly what's going on. And this one brings everything from the first one together and then just gives you more of a story and cohesiveness that fills in the not rushed, but kind of scrapbooked storyline of the first one. So I think this made the first one so much more easier to understand.
Yeah. Not trying to give like this as like a point of contention as to why he might have done some things different, why he might have done things the way he did in the first one, but it's always kind of hard to start something up, especially if you know like what you want to do, how you want to do it. Like, I mean, putting your
Oh yeah.
foot forward in this kind of instance when it's a character that like you've already done before when you were like 20 and now you're like I think he's like what 50s around his 50s and now he's getting back to it. I mean it's complicated. I don't think he did
I'm not
as good of
saying
a
he,
job that he could have done on the first one, but I think it was knowing the second one, I think it was a good setup for the second one, but I
yes.
can also see why like I can also see your point too as to why like people would be somewhat disappointed in the first one if they didn't get the second one on top of that.
Yes. Yeah.
But I also think I don't know if there was also ancillary media. Like I think this one might have been brought up before the second one. So if that's the case, then they got something before the second one happened. And if that's the case, then good, that might have helped with people wanting to come back for the second one. But yeah, no, I can still see your point.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
But yeah, you might also not even get this because of being disappointed by the first one, but
It's not disappointment. It's just
not so much disappointment, but like just
it's
not knowing
just a
where it's
jumble of it's a whole
yeah,
bunch of thoughts put into 40 or so pages.
yeah. Well, in the first one or the second one?
Yeah,
Because
the first one.
the second one's like about 80 something.
Yeah, that's the
It's
first
about
one.
twice as
It's
big.
just yeah, it's just a whole bunch of plot points crammed into crammed into 40 pages.
Yeah.
So it can catch you up to the story he wants it at currently.
Yeah. Like I've kind of said
Which
before, it's a
all in
character
yeah,
from the 90s that he's trying
yeah,
to bring.
which all in all it worked. And the second one, I think having it longer really worked to build that storyline he's making right now.
Yeah, and I think having it longer was necessary just that we got more people invested because
Yes. For the people
the
who were
first one
like, ah,
was
this is good.
this is
The
so
first read was good, but I wanted this one was a good grabbing people who were interested but kind of
if the
confused from the first one.
yeah, the first one was more so like a nibble of what he could produce, and then the
Hmm.
second one was like the hook to get
Yes.
people completely invested.
Yes.
And I think it does a good job of that. I'll go ahead and say nine, and then you can say eight.
Yeah,
Um,
I'll say 8.5.
I'll say nine because
The others,
I've read the others, so
I haven't, so I don't understand some of these characters that are being brought in.
yeah,
I don't have as much understanding or attachment, I suppose, to these vi other villains that we've seen.
yeah, that's not your fault at all. It's just
No.
he's also still gotta like that have read the previous books will
Hmm.
know who these guys are, and the people that don't are just gonna be like, well, that guy either looks cool or, but I have no idea as to what he is. And then he's kind of given some dialogue in between saying, hey, this
Yes.
guy's the previous
Like
bad guy. This guy,
because when I was reading it, the whole one of the I would say kind of a problem is when he's being linked to the sec to understand this language. I didn't know that was another person until you brought it up.
yeah,
I thought that was just a program that
yeah,
was forcibly linked to him
yeah. No,
because
you
it
will.
doesn't explain it or give him like say him by name or anything.
Yeah, I hate bringing this up again, but it explains a little bit
Yeah,
more in this. I hate keep doing that because I'm like, well,
I
it
know.
explains, but
But
I'm
it
like,
makes sense how that came out beforehand. I didn't think I would have needed to read that because I thought it was kind of a I didn't realize how much it foreshadowed into this one.
yeah. So I'm kind of glad I didn't give you. Well, I probably could have given you this one beforehand, but other than
Yeah,
that, I probably wouldn't have given you anything else before the second one. I would have said read the
yeah,
second one, and then it would have been this one, and then maybe the Heartsick Horror one would have been what I would have told you to read before the second one. But Death Sting, I don't think I could have given you that one with. You would have been confused as to the ending for Salamandroid because it kind of ties into the ending of the second one. So
got you.
you'd have been like, what happened? What happened during this time gap? Wait a minute. How did he come back? You know, like, that would have been, you would have been, I think you would have been confused a little bit by that.
I can definitely see that being possible.
Yeah. I think you would have easily caught up, but you would have been confused because it would have been out of order. I don't think you would have been that confused, but you would have at least had to do a double take and wonder why was this the way this was, and then I would have had to explain, well, it's tying into this other book,
It's like this
and then you would have
because
got
the author said it should be.
And then you would have gotten mad at me saying, "Well, why'd you make me read them out of order?" So,
Also possible. Yes.
no, also probable. You would have done, you definitely would have done that.
I can neither confirm nor deny.
I'll confirm it for you. You would have.
I plead the fifth. Yeah, I'm really excited
Yeah.
to continue reading this series because it is very good. It's a very, very good read. I
Yeah.
can't say anything any more praise about
Yeah.
it, or can't think of the words to praise it more.
I think the more that we would talk about it would be the more injustice we would do about praising it because it
Probably.
it's just really good.
It is, and I 100% people who have read the originals and understand it 100%, I feel like they are just in love with this because I
Yeah.
can see it even though I haven't read it, I can see them taking stabs at themselves in the writing when like one of the pages it was you got to remember this isn't the 90s anymore, and
Yeah.
I'm like,
Well,
okay, that's
yeah.
funny
Yeah.
because that's when the original plot took place.
Yeah. Well, on top of that, you'll see it more when I do give you warts and all, and you're able to actually read it. But the 90s, he's more of a childish sort of hero character that does things when he wants to,
Because
the way
he
he wants
yeah,
to. And now he's more, this is more so him growing, needing to grow the frick up
yeah,
like very fast. And you can kind of see that through this story. But once you read the 90s stuff, you'll be like, oh, that kind of makes sense, the arc that he's trying to go through. Some of the stuff, if it's confusing as to why things are some ways in this one and why they're not in the other one, I would just say the new stuff. I don't know how to best explain that because like Scorpion exists in the 90s stuff, but it's a different iteration, it feels like. So
okay,
I don't know how to best explain that. But my what I've been going off of is if it seems to contradict itself, go with the newer stuff than the older stuff.
got you.
If you find like somewhat a contradiction in the 90s stuff versus the new stuff, go with the new stuff. Because in the 90s, I don't think he was thinking this far ahead or thinking down this route, which I
Yeah,
mean
no,
makes
and
sense.
I that makes sense. That makes sense. Because
So
I wouldn't have thought anywhere near this.
no, I wouldn't have either. You went from going from an indie guy to a big time
Yeah.
DC, somewhat a little bit at Marvel, but mostly DC.
So
Yeah,
this is fun. This is going to
yeah,
be a fun one.
yeah. Well, if I can get you to also read the Graham Nolan stuff, that'll also be fun too. I'm also reading this other guy, Aaron Lopresti. I've read two of his books and I liked them. And I'm trying to read his main stuff, but he's also kind of doing a thing where he's I'm not gonna say it's quite like Graham Nolan's kind of well, I'd say it's more like Graham Nolan's and Ethan's. It's more like he's got different stories, but they're all part of the same universe. His like
Okay.
Loprestiverse is what he's calling it. The ones that I have read have been fun. There was one that was called Garbage Man, and then the other one that was called Kit Carter and the Planet of Doom. And then I've read the Battle Brick Road. I read that one. I mean, I read the first one. The first one isn't bad. It parallels The Wizard of Oz without like outright copying it.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay. That's fun.
I've enjoyed it. Well, also there's other stuff by that the guy who did Florida Man, Mike Barron. He did a western. He did a vigilante that like kills terrorists at the border, and then he did this other book called Nexus Scourge, which is about this like space cop guy, space superhero cop, kind of like Buck Rogers. I will say the Nexus Scourge one felt like watching a TV show. It felt like I was watching a TV show as I was reading it, like I was watching an episode of a TV show.
All right.
I enjoyed the Nexus one. I enjoyed the Bronze Star one. The Private American I didn't enjoy as much, but it was still good. Which is disappointing because he's the same guy who wrote Florida Man and one of the Rippaverse books. So
Hey, not everything can be great.
no, not everything is gonna be good.
Not everything can be great, sadly.
No, but I wish it was. I wish everything was that way. I wouldn't have to waste my time. I can just be like, oh, this is already good. I picked it up. Got that magic touch.
It,
So,
if only it was that easy, just to
yeah,
find something good to read. Thank you, everyone, for watching this episode of, I guess, our comic book reviews at this point.
yeah, I guess so.
Join us for the next one, which will be the next Cyberfrog book. We'll
The
have a picture
diary,
of it
yeah, the
because
Diary of
I
Heather
will not
Swain.
remember the name.
The Diary
Yep,
of Heather Swain, 1998.
which is going back in time a little bit.
Yep, it's the
Kind of
in-betweener
excited
book.
for that.
It's the in-betweener book for 1 and 2.
I'm excited for it. So we'll see you then.